All right. And this part's been covered before on multiple occasions. You know what we're going to do? Cover it again. Little piece about discipline. I did have a routine that was instilled into me by Colonel Sink. At Toccoa, Colonel Sink insisted that officers always shave in the morning, regardless of the situation. He would say, you shave every morning for the troops, and if you want to shave every evening for the women, that's up to you. I followed his orders because I realized that I had to set the proper example for the men. I needed to get their attention and let them all know that I intended to be around for a while and that the situation was not as bad as they might think. I remember before 2nd Battalion attacked Foy, I had awakened early and shaved before I ate breakfast. I later discovered that I had cut my face in multiple places. When Colonel Sink came up to check on the battalion's readiness before the attack commenced, he took one look at me and smiled. I realized that he was laughing at me for shaving on that bitterly cold morning. In hindsight, shaving at 0 dark 30 and freezing temperatures was pretty ridiculous. So, we talk about this all the time. Got to shave, got to maintain unmitigated daily discipline in all things. But what's cool, the reason I wanted to go over this again is because look at what he's doing psychologically to the troops. He's saying, I know I had to set an example. I needed to get their attention and make them realize, like, hey, we're going to be here for a while. And you know what? I'm just going to go daily. This is no big deal. Oh, you're worried about this stuff? I'm still shaving over here. I'm still waking up at 0400 shaving. And you're worried about this stuff? Nothing to worry about. We're good to go. And you need to maintain the same discipline. So that leading by example clearly is a big deal right there. And maintaining that routine, maintaining that discipline. Now, speaking of discipline, back to the book. Regardless of how disciplined an outfit is, too much time on your hands, too little activity, and too much alcohol make a volatile combination. So this book skips around a little bit, but I put this in here because this is actually talking about when they were done fighting, and now everyone was kind of idle. He has some idle people on their hands, but it related to discipline, so I wanted to lock it in a little bit. Back to the book. The battalion was no longer a combat unit, but a garrison outfit. It was more important to keep the troops gainfully employed to prevent boredom and monotony. That would lead to a breakdown in discipline, and when that occurs, soldiers get careless. Consequently, the first thing we organized were calisthenics and athletic programs. I always joke about, when people say they have some kind of problem, and I'm like, oh, do burpees.
Right.
Hey, you know what a good solution to all problems are? Calisthenics. Just start doing calisthenics. I like that. I like that attitude.
It'll help.
I vividly recall, this is another reason why I put this in. I vividly recall watching the men stripped to their waist or only wearing their shorts as they played baseball. The sight of all those scars made me conscious of the fact that only a handful of men in the battalion had been lucky enough to make it through all 4 campaigns without at least one scar. Some men had 2, 3, or even 4 scars on their chest, back, arms, or legs. Keep in mind that this was after the war, so I was looking only at men who were not seriously wounded. Next, we set up rifle ranges and sharpened our marksmanship. Close order drill and troop reviews were once again back on the training schedule. I also established a schedule where each of our 4 platoons could rotate every 72 hours to a ski lodge in the Alps for rest and relaxation. The purpose of using this retreat was to let the men get away from the routine of a military schedule. So first of all, when I got to SEAL Team 1, and actually it wasn't when I first got there, but there was a Master Chief at SEAL Team 1 that had showed up in 1971 or 1972 to SEAL Team 1. And SEAL Team 1, you had 150 guys roughly on the team at that time. And they had 34 killed in action in Vietnam at SEAL Team 1. And wounded was, I don't know how many wounded, but it was a lot. But this guy who was a Master Chief when I met him, and he was telling me that when he, at the SEAL team, you PT in the morning, just like a sports team, you get to work and you work out. And he's a new guy, right? And they PT and then they go in the shower, to wash off, and it's the same thing. He's like looking at every single guy's scarred up, wounded, slashes on their chest, bullet holes in them, and he kind of was saying to himself, "Damn, this has been trial by fire for these guys." But beyond that, what he's talking about here clearly is, and I'll tell you this, especially with, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old males that have joined the military. If you don't find something for them to do productive, they're going to find something to do that's not going to be productive. It'll be fun for them.
Yeah.
It'll be fun for them. They're going to have a good time, but it's not. There's a chance that they could be doing something better than what you're letting them do. Now, of course, he talks about the fact that he's still giving them time to go out to the ski lodge and break away from it a little bit. But you just got to be careful on how you do that. You got to be careful on how you do that. It can backfire if you're not careful. And the first time I was ever kind of detached from a SEAL platoon it was when I went to training, the training department at SEAL Team 1, what we used to call training cell, which sounds legit. And it was legit.
Sure.
So at training cell, the first trip I went on with a platoon, because I was always in the platoon. So the first trip I went on with the platoon, and I was outside of the platoon, and I was, you could say I was an instructor, even though we weren't running around calling ourselves instructors. We would call ourselves actually the cadre. I don't know why. It was just like, oh yeah, cadre.
Sounds dope.
Yeah.
Wait, that's an official term though, right?
It is an official term. Yeah, cadre. The training cadre. Yeah. So when we were at training cell, because the instructors are kind of considered the buds instructors, the guys are at the basic training, and we didn't really want to be buds instructors. We were the cadre.
Hell yeah.
So, and I didn't make, this is just my own assessment. I didn't make up cadre. I didn't call ourselves cadre. I didn't make up training cell. I wish I would have made up all those things, but I just flowed into them as a lucky young new guy. And actually at this point I wasn't a new guy anymore.
Wait, but it's true though, right? It's not like you just gave yourself a title that wasn't.
No. We were the cadre. Yeah. Training cadre. Yeah. Hey, I need to talk to the guys in the cadre over here. Yeah, that's what we called ourselves.
Right. Oh, yeah. So it's like when, like let's say you open a jiu-jitsu gym, and then you're teaching people, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm the instructor. And then you say, you know what? I like professor. That's better.
Yeah. No, it wasn't that.
It's not that.
I didn't make that. No. They called. For years. And actually, I think Roger Hayden talked about it when he was on the podcast. He was talking about when he was cadre. So it's been around forever.
Right. That's why I just like professor. It's like, it's true.
Yeah, it's an
you are
thing.
The professor, but it's like, it's just better. It sounds better. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that one.
Just go with cadre.
Yeah. I like cadre.
I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh, so I was in the cadre for the first time. And we went on a trip. We went to a trip where they have good times to be had where we were. It was a place where there was some good training, but there was also good times. And I picked this up from Harley Flanagan, this term, which I hadn't really heard, wilding. Did you hear him say that? He's like, oh, we were just wilding.
Yeah.
Which I think is a better term than the term that we discussed, which was partying. Right? Oh, there's good. Yeah, we were partying. Yeah. I like wilding better because that entails all kinds of other things.
A little bit more wild, yeah.
A little bit more wild.
Yeah, wilding out, or what they say, wilding out.
I never really heard it. I never really heard it before. But when Harley said, clearly you know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's in his book too. He talks about wilding. So we went to this place with a SEAL platoon where there was good training and good wilding to be had. And I remember the first time that these guys, we get there, we work a little bit, and then they're going to go out into the town. And I remember thinking to myself, they've been in the field for a few days, and they were all fired up, young frogmen. And I was thinking to myself, how is this even going to work? Like, there's no possibility of this going well. And it did, everyone was fine. But you just see all these guys, they're ready to explode. And they've been in the field, they've dehydrated, they've been in the field for 4 days or 5 days, they're all dehydrated, and they completed their operation, they feel good about it, now you're going to let them out in town, and it's... Yeah, you got to be careful in those scenarios. You got to put something. Yeah, we would, sometimes you just say, hey, look, do whatever you want tonight, but we're PTing tomorrow at 0700. So then everyone knows they can wild to a point, but they can't. They got to put some kind of a governor on the scenario. Here's a cool piece where Dick Winters, he talks about, and I've talked about this before, but just a piece about his view of what America was doing at the time. Back to the book. The United States went to war not to conquer territory or to subject their fellow man, but merely to liberate a conquered people from the chains of tyranny. There is a certain nobility in all that. Today we are bombarded in the news media about how everyone hates America and how this country is deployed around the world. World War II wasn't like that. And I am proud to be a part of it. So, again, I've said this a bunch of times. We went there and lost hundreds of thousands of people in Europe and in the Pacific Theater, and we took nothing. We only gave.